What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks on a Monday. DJ, Buck, and Baldy. Buck, I know where you are every week because the Jags. Baldy, my first question, where the heck were you yesterday?
Well, I'm at the NFL Network here in LA today. I was doing the Rams yesterday, Colts. So it was, the Rams put up 2 touchdowns there in the final 4 minutes to win that game. But it was, it was. You could see why both teams could be real good this year.
Yeah, no question. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that game in a few minutes here. Let's start off with what was billed as the game of the week. Didn't end up being all that competitive or close, but Baltimore, Kansas City. Baldy, what'd you see?
I just see this Baltimore defense is a real problem. Just whether it's 2 things. One, what we took for granted in Derrick Henry just having another monster year. It hadn't started except for a few runs against Buffalo. He's really been shut down. He can't really get started. And then defensively, they're playing from behind in these games, and they can't stop anybody right now. They don't have a pass rush. And all of a sudden, I just don't understand some of the things that they're doing, to stop other teams. But defensively, they're a mess right now. They started off a mess last year, and then they kind of figured things out in the second half of the season. And they got a lot better, but they look like they look like the defense that started the year a year ago, like new defense coordinator, Zach Orr, and just not really sure of their personnel. And it's been a real issue here through the first month.
Look, I'll take the other side of it, and I'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. And I never knew that Xavier Worthy could potentially make that much of a difference for their offense. But having the long ball or the threat of the long ball really opens up everything for them. They still can't run the ball the way they want to run it. They still don't have a threat in the backfield that makes you change. But having the one guy on the field, Xavier Worthy, that can stretch the field opens up everything for everybody else. And when you think about the Chiefs, one, being able to go for over 300 yards, being able to open it up, even though he didn't have a 100-yard day, but just setting the table, this looked more like the fun Chiefs that we talked about. We talked about making the Chiefs fun again. Like this looked like that version that they could eventually get to. There's still a ceiling to it in my mind without the running game. But at least from a passing game perspective, they can deliver some explosive plays because they have an explosive guy that can command a double team and open up the field for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, I was glad to see Bashard Smith got some touches. We've been begging for that to add some. He can add some speed.
For weeks now.
Yeah, give him some speed. He gives him a little pop. So he made a couple plays. But interesting thing to me, again, because I don't get to see these games on TV. I just I go through the box score and I kind of see what grabs my eye, and that informs what I want to watch. So first thing that jumped out, they had the ball for 34-45. So they controlled the ball, kept Baltimore off the field. So how do you do that? Well, you're 4-4 on 4th downs. And I don't know if there's a better play caller or a better quarterback on 4th down than Andy Reid combined with Patrick Mahomes. And what they do, they give themselves multiple options. I went through the 4 of them. So the four conversions, you get a little roll right, you get a little rub route in the flat where if it's there, boom, and he takes it, Mahomes take it. If it's not there, he's going to use his legs and run and get it anyway. So you get him, there's a theme to it, getting Mahomes out to his right, his dominant side, where he's very comfortable there. Then they ran the ball power behind Simmons, who's already playing at a really high level. Left tackle is going to be a good player. They can run behind him. He can move people. Then you go back. Okay, now we're going to boot to the right. Again, Mahomes has options to run it. He finds a little crosser, deep cross, hits it. I think it was Hollywood Brown for a touchdown. And then they come back in the exact same look. He wheels out, and this time he just gives it inside. So everything kind of plays off of one another. There's a theme of trying to get it to that right side. It just, to me, it's Baldy. It's option football, really, is what it is.
Well, what you're saying, DJ, is, and you're right. I mean, Andy Reid is a master, but I mean, it's 2 things. It's the trust in Mahomes to go for it on 4th down, to know that he's going to give you a chance. And then in Andy's design, in Nagy's design, all right, what are the answers if they do this, if they take this away on the rub route, going to the right? I mean, if they take that away and they jump it, where's the answer? And so I always feel like they're thinking next level, because a lot of these 4th down plays you see in the league, and everybody is, kind of ranching that up and trying to keep possession right now. Okay, if the route that you called isn't there because whatever happens, where's your option? And I feel like they think that all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, every quarterback I've ever talked to, and I'm sure you've had similar experiences, Baldy, it's like, what do they want? They just give me answers. Like, give me some answers to whatever I'm going to see. I need to have an answer. That I don't know anybody who's done that better than Andy.
No, I mean, that's, you just give them some Haagen-Dazs, on Tuesday night, and let them just go tinker, DJ. Honestly, that's what he does. Like, he's tinkering all the time. And that's why, you talk to Mahomes before these games when I get a chance to talk to him. And I'm like, how many new plays this week, Pat? And it's like, oh, we got like six, 7 new ones. Mm-hmm. I can't wait, and they're repping them and walking through it and putting it on the board and the whole thing. And then, if it has the right amount of answers, depending on what the defense is going to do to you, then they're going to put it in the game plan. And then it's a question of, they're going to pull it out or not. But it's what do we have? Bucky just talked about Xavier Worthy back in line. What do we have? What are they doing? What are they, those first 15 are all about, okay, we're going to give you this formation. We're going to give you this look. How are they matching up with it? And so they're almost building their game plan off the first 15 to start that game. And then it's a question of down distance situation and what's in our playbook right here.
Yeah, no doubt. They do it really, really well. I know we're about a month away from Halloween. I'd love to see the Ravens dress up as a good defense again. That'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch. Been a minute since we've seen that. Dallas, Green Bay, Baldy.
It's a shootout. Dak was awesome. Both quarterbacks were great, really great. Dak makes that throw at the end. They try to go down in overtime to win it with a touchdown. He makes that throw to Jalen Tolbert. Micah Parsons, he's all over him. And I don't even know how he got the ball down the field. Now, I'm not sure what Keyshawn Nixon was doing in the end zone. It looked like he just stopped. But, Dak gave Tolbert. Tolbert made a great catch, great toe tap on the sideline. But I thought Dak was on his game. And this is, without CD, nobody thought, okay, Pickens could make the plays that he did, the catch and run, the sideline stuff. Like, he was a monster in that game. But so Tolbert, Ferguson, how they ran the ball, I got to give Shadi a lot of credit. The offense is a really good offense. And that's with a backup center. It's with a, backup right guard. It's, they lost Guyton for a little while. It was with backups up there. And the way that, the quarterback's playing great and the offense is well designed is you're playing with backups and you don't even know it. And that's a credit, because I thought Tyler Booker was playing great. But, they went in there with TJ, the whole group. Hoffman played really good at center. But I thought Dak got rid of the ball quickly because Michael was winning his pass rushes one after another. But Dak was beating him with just speed of delivery and speed of decision-making. And he saw the field really, really well. It was a great game. If you like offense, if you like great quarterback play, go play a 6 quarter. Why settle at 40-40? Let's keep going.
It's Baldy. It's funny that you talked about the Cowboys. I finally saw a path to victory for them down the line in terms of how they can play. And I think it's very similar to the way that they played last night. The offense has to be great each and every week. But if this defense can really hone in on the things that Matt Eberflus wants to do, where they're playing bend but don't break, don't give up the big plays, and those things. The only issue that I have with their personnel, they're not disciplined or detailed enough to really play the Tampa 2 style that he wants to play. They just have egregious bust and errors at critical moments that lead to big plays. If they can just literally get aligned and understand the assignment with their offense playing the way that they played last night, they can win some games. You don't want it to be in the 30s each week, but if they can just keep it in front, find a way to slow people down in the red zone, there's a path for them to be a competitive team. I'm not saying they'd be a playoff team, but they can be very competitive, because you're right, Dak is playing at a lights out level. You just need to support the high level quarterback play with some solid bend but don't break defense.
Yeah, let me wrap up what you guys are both talking about here and put a little bow on it, and we'll move on to Philly, Tampa. But you talked about Pickens there initially, Baldy, going back through all this stuff, 8 for $134 and 2 touchdowns. Pickens gets kind of labeled because he's so rangy and athletic and fast. Like, he's just your vertical down the field guy. But when you go through this, there's some nuance to him as a route runner. He widens guys on a seam to create a bigger window for a throw. He catches a whole shot. You get him on a one-step slant, he can get you on that stuff as well. There was a lot of different variety to how he won in this game. Did a really, really nice job. So you'll see him on curls, like he's working back to the quarterback, deep end cuts. So he's not just a one-trick pony. Like, when he's right, he's a full number 1 caliber receiver, and that was on display in that game. And I don't want to rain on the Cowboys parade, as I just said some nice things about Pickens, but when their defense, I mean, guys, when you're 11 of 15 allowed third and fourth downs in that game, 11 of 15 conversions, like they can't get off the field.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be something I think is going to get drastically improved. They can't really get to the quarterback. I worry about this team. I think they have to score a butt ton of points, if that's a proper phrase, to win a lot of games in this league. And then Baldy, the last thing that I'll sum it up on is, man, it wasn't that long ago, Green Bay early in the season, and we're like, they're Super Bowl caliber. Yeah. And I was saying it's the right time to go all in and get you look up, Cleveland's not good. They lost that game. Mm-hmm. Dallas, I don't think is very good. And they tied that game. They've come falling back to earth, man.
No question. No, I mean, it was a 2 week where it looked like, okay, Halfley had it going on defensively, the whole thing, and it has fallen apart. They could not, the week before against Cleveland, they couldn't do anything offensively, and then yesterday Dak did whatever he wanted to do in that game offensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Buck, one more quick nugget on this. I'm here for all the tight end screens. As a noodle arm quarterback, when the Green Bay was dusting that off several times in that game, there's no better feeling than setting up a screen to a tight. It's the easiest throw that's ever been assembled in a playbook, and you got a little upside with that thing as well.
Well, as a guy that started my college career as a tight end, you give me all the tight end screens you want. Give me all the dump, dump. Yep. Give me all I'll catch those, those 6-yard plays all day long, man.
Delay. Give me a couple delay releases. I'm not afraid to mix those in there.
Pass block me, delay me, get off. There's 6 different ways you can get tight end the ball.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've seen it a bunch though. Like I feel like we're seeing a lot of tight end screens every week watching a bunch of these games. Hey, why don't you start us off on this one, Buck? Philly, Tampa Bay. Kind of a weird game, I would say. Tampa Bay ended up coming back a little bit, but what'd you see on this one?
For as great as the Philadelphia Eagles looked the first half, jumping all over the Buccaneers, they couldn't do anything the second half offensively. And it's the craziest thing to kind of watch this team that we celebrate having won 20 out of their last 21, but they always leave you kind of wanting a little more. So I want to give them credit for finding a way to get it done. But you still have so many other things that they could get to. A.J. Brown only having 2 catches.
Did he say anything? Did he say anything after the game? Because I haven't seen anything, but I'll get to his body language in a minute. But it wasn't great at the end of this game.
I think he tweeted something, but I didn't get a chance to read it. But I heard that there's a little tweet that kind of aired it out a little bit.
Yeah, Gavin and Drew help us out in the chat on that one. Baldy, what have you seen there? Gosh, they keep winning, man.
Look, Kevin Petullo's under, the hot lights, even though they're 4-0. But they scored 3 red zone touchdowns. They were all different plays, all extremely well designed, all perfectly executed. And so I thought, okay, 3 touchdowns, 3 red zone touchdowns, 3 really different designs. That's good. Todd Bowles blitzed them the first play of the game. They had an answer for the blitz the entire first half. And that's how they jumped to that lead. They weren't fooled by anything. They had the right read. They had Jalen knew where to go with the ball, and that's something he's struggled against Todd Bowles in the past. And on the other side, I haven't seen a corner play better than Quinyon Mitchell than what he did in that game. He defended one pass after another. He wasn't called for any penalties. He plays the game with his feet and his eyes. He's in position. Ibuka made the big play, obviously, but that wasn't against him. That was 2 scramble drill touchdowns that Baker kept him in the game on, one to Ibuka and then one to Bucky. But I thought Quinyon was absolutely awesome in that game.
Yeah, I'd said before the season started, I talked to somebody in the organization who said Quinyon Mitchell, during camp, he's our best football player. Not like he's our best DB, he's our best defensive player. Like he's the best player on our team. I was like, wow, okay, that's a power statement. He's lived up to it with what he's done so far. By the way, that quote, that tweet, I guess, was, if you're not welcomed, not listened, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders and be on your way. Oh, it's a Bible verse, Mark 6:11. I wasn't familiar with that one. So caught me off guard on that one. Okay, interesting. When he looked, getting to that point, going through and just looking at all his, went through all Hurt's stuff, just watched all his stuff. So they start off early. One of the ways I like it when you have a plan in place, when you get a blitz heavy team like they were going to see, get the backs involved. I'd much rather be thrown in my backs and ask my backs to be in there trying to sort out all the chaos that's coming their way. Give you some easy completions there. I think they did a nice job designing some stuff. Their short yardage, little scoop to Goddard was a creative play call down there. Baldy, you touched on that. The AJ Brown stuff specifically, I think where his frustration came was there was a couple opportunities early in game where he's one-on-one. It's a 50-50 situation. He's vertical down the field. And I think in his mind, and rightfully so, he's like, hey, you got to take these shots. Like I'm here. Give me a chance to make these plays. And Hurts turned it down a couple times. And then at the end, after that, you could kind of see his body language getting frustrated. And then the last 5 or 6 throws they tried to, you could tell he must have been barking or there was some communication because they were aggressively trying to force feed him the ball. And it just wasn't in the flow of the game. It wasn't in the rhythm of the offense. It was off. It was definitely off. And the body language, just watching the all 22 stuff, you could see the slumped shoulders. You could see the frustration. They throw him a screen out there and Devontae Smith just leaves the guy over him to go block it. Mulata's got no chance to get out there and get the corner. So he gets tackle for loss. You could see the frustration building. That's why I didn't even know that he had tweeted anything. I just thought watching that game, watching that tape, I'm like, surely something was said in the post game. It turns out he did it in way of
it. Just on the other side, I know Baker was unbelievable. Like that guy, he's just a warrior. Like I know he had to be exhausted at the end of that game, but the way that he kept plays alive, he kept them in the game. It wasn't pretty at all. His effort to just avoid rush, they came after him a lot of different ways, like to avoid the rush, to extend the play, to get out, to keep plays alive, scrambling for first downs. Like he did everything he possibly could with a depleted group up front on the right side and, receivers out, all that kind of stuff. He did get Godwin back, but it's just you can't give that guy any more credit than what he just did on that field to try and pull that game out.
Baldy, if I told you that your family was going to be held hostage and you needed to have one fighter win you a match within a cage, would you take anybody other than?
I got a lifeline to Baker.
I would take Vita Vea, and he would be my representative to save my family's life in the octagon against any other human being in the National Football League. Landon Dickerson is a big human being, and he displaced him rather easily in that game.
Let me just say that. Let's just say the equipment manager lost Vita Vea's equipment. No helmet, no pads, no shoes. If he just went out there in a pair of shorts, would it be any different?
No.
Like, would he play any different? Like he'd be the same guy.
It's not fair, Bucky. It's just, this is a league of some really big, strong, I'm talking 330, 6'6". These are grown men, and they don't have a chance. He's so stinking strong, man.
Yeah, but imagine being in high school having to tackle him at tailback. Just imagine that's what he was. So the athleticism that you talk about, that's what he was doing when he was in high school, running the rock on occasion. He is terrific. He has been as good as advertised when he was coming out. His dominance at the point of attack really sets the table. When you think about what Todd Bowles wants to do defensively, having somebody like that up front as a centerpiece only enhances the high pressure game plan that he prefers to use. Tampa, it's funny because you don't take more victories in the pros, but I think if anything, man, you come out of this with a ton of confidence that you can go toe to toe with the heavyweights. They're going to win the division, but they're going to be right there to have one of these high leverage matchups against either Detroit or Philly at the end to determine whether they can be one of those ones to get to the winner's circle.
Obviously we'll get to the Pittsburgh game in Dublin, but they're always talking about, 16 international games and maybe a team outside the United States. If they ever put a team in Samoa and Samoans just you put Puka and Mulata and Vita and you just put all the Samoans on a team, like they might run the table on the NFL right now.
Yeah, that's gonna bridge perfectly, Baldy, because I know they didn't win, but Tui Pelotu, I believe he had 4 sacks.
He had 4
in the game.
He had 4 and probably had left 2 on the field.
All right, guys, I was there. Chargers, Giants. It was a game right from the first drive for the Giants. They just went right down the field, scataboo, running the ball. I was telling Money as we were calling the game, I'm like, you're going to see Dart's legs on this drive because it's like a new toy for Brian Daboll, and you want all the new features of this thing. You want to test it all out here. and really, really well-designed offense down there. They get down there in the red zone, a little quarterback draw. You got Scadaboo as a lead up there in the hole. It's so impactful when you have a quarterback who not only can like run or make you miss, but it can run with some power and some strength. You get in the red zone, it just changes the math. Scadaboo's a good lead blocker in there. He did it on a couple different occasions in this game. So they had a really good plan there. There was the thing that most impressed me overall on Dart, and then Baldy, I'll kick it over to you, but was some long third downs he was able to convert with his arm and his legs. He looked poised. Now, he took a lot of sacks. Tui Pelotu got to him a bunch. Then, they got to him and hit him in this game. He actually was a little gimpy, too, at one point in time, but kind of fought through it. He had 54 yards on the ground, and he had a really long run that ended up getting called back. He would have had close to 100 yards. But to me, the toughness, all that stuff was there. The third down and longs, like keep giving you hope. We always talk about that. You got a quarterback, he provides some hope. But the biggest thing to me, guys, was when he came onto the field, when he trotted out onto the field, like the whole stadium lit up. Like he brings energy, man. He brought a lot of energy there. And
the fans played off it. I mean, the touchdown run. I mean, that celebration was going on. The Giants hadn't had a lead all year. It's the first lead they got, and that's and we'll get to the other side of it. But you let that defense play with the lead, and Dart got him that. And you could see the whole team got a lift from it. And, it's just, the downer is what happened to Malik. I mean, like here you are, you're trying to develop this quarterback, and then your star player over here is done for the year. Like it just stinks, because you're not going to be able to replace him. But I thought Dart did a lot with his legs. He extended some plays. And then like when he does have to throw the ball over the middle, like he does it with confidence, and he makes some good throws over the middle. You talked about the third down conversions to extend some drives. That's a good defense. They're really good at up the middle in that defense. And he didn't look the least bit worried about who he was going up against.
I felt like I got a nice preview of what we were going to see on Saturday, looking at Ole Miss play with Lane Kiffin. I'm looking at Ole Miss take down LSU, and I'm looking at all of the different things that Ole Miss does. And even though Jackson Dart certainly isn't there, but it's the RPOs, the rhythm throws, the quarterback run game, and everything. You turn on the Giants game and you see, oh, man, the Giants look like the pro version of Ole Miss in terms of how Jackson Dart is playing. Quarterback lead down in the end zone. DJ, if you couldn't call that out and say, you know what? I think Jackson Dart is going to run something down here because it's the shiny new toy. I'm dumbfounded in terms of that. But it's also what I heard Rex Ryan talk about this. The reason why you had to make the move is because you needed this team energized. And because you have a young guy who's competing, who's tough as nails, even if it's not right, it changes the way that everyone responds. That defense played lights out because of the energy that the offense was giving them. And when you look at Jackson Dart's stat line, it's easy to be like, well, he really didn't do anything. But it's the presence. It's the field. It's the toughness that he played with. The competitiveness. Look, man, it's unfortunate that Malik Neighbors is out, but we talked about this. When they were going to have Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, and Malik Neighbors, that's their version of the triplets. They could build out everything from that. Let's see what Brian Daboll does to continue it on. But, man, so far so good for Jackson Dart starting for the Giants.
Yeah, it's going to get harder. And I know, look, they play New Orleans, who's not a great football team this coming week. But you start to see a little bit of how they want to use them. They're going to be able to develop game plans, and they don't really have a big-time winner on the outside now that Neighbors is gone. So you're going to see teams are going to just try and crowd the line of scrimmage, take away this run game, which he's involved in. So trust me, it's not going to be a smooth ride all the way through this whole thing, but you could tell that he's made of the right stuff. He's incredibly tough. All that stuff was excellent. We get over to the Chargers side of things, man. First of all, Joe Alt goes down, and you're like, I mean, gee, many Christmas. Mekhi Becton is hurt; he didn't play. Yep. You already lost Slater early in the year, so you lost 2 Pro Bowl tackles, and you're out there with backups, and that's when a defensive line now with a lead. Those guys can really, really rush. That's how that team was built to play. And they just haven't had the lead to be able to unleash it. So got a lot of backups in there. That was a challenge. But I said it at the beginning of the game when it was like, okay, what are the keys to the game? I said, well, if you're the Chargers, you have to take away the easy button. You can't make things easy on this quarterback. You've got to be able to, when you need to punt, you punt. You make him have to drive the field. Well, they get 2 turnovers. They start 2 possessions inside your 5-yard line.
Yeah.
That's the game. That was the whole game. That's what happened.
Yep. Well, I mean, Dexter Lawrence's interception.
It was an incredible play.
It's a great play. But, I mean, I thought, the twist and the games that they were running with Abdul and Kayvon were really effective, especially against, backup offensive linemen. And then, Burns has just been playing at a high level all year. So that's the four. That's the four that you got to try and, contain. And they got to Herbie a bunch. They hit him a bunch. They affected him. They got the big plays defensively, the interceptions, the whole thing. And so the defense, really helped the offense out. They really played that style of football. And the Giants did just enough, to keep that lead all game long. And you thought maybe, I'm sure, in the fourth quarter, you thought, okay, this is going to be just like Denver. Here they come. They got in a position to really go, and they just couldn't finish it against that group.
Yeah, no, they couldn't finish it. And, the one thing, the hope that you'll take out of it if you're on the Charger side of things is they got Omarion Hampton cut loose a little bit in that game. God. He popped a long run. Your Tar Heel Bucky, he's going to be a really good player. And I like them throwing the ball to him too. That's like another theme. I talked about it earlier. Buck hit on this and Baldy follow it up, but I don't know. You guys tell me, am I crazy? I just, from a quarterback perspective, especially when you got an established made guy like, Herbert, we talked about some of these other guys out there in those situations, Dak, Jordan Love. Hey, get my back. I want to get my back out. Like, get him out. Let me answer some of these blitzes with being able to get that ball out to the back.
Well, I think it's a cheat code. It's the ultimate cheat code in the passing game. If you have a pass catching running back who also is a legitimate runner that you have to respect in the ground game, it's the way that you can create and exploit mismatches. Omarion Hampton can catch the ball out the backfield. It gives you the easy check down option. It discourages teams from blitzing you all the time if that guy can win his one-on-one battles. We're seeing more guys touch the ball out of the backfield because they are realizing that's the safety valve and the outlet. And for these young quarterbacks that are kind of moving into the next phase, because Justin Herbert is moving into the next phase of going from not even game manager to playmaker, but the guy that can be the ultimate distributor. That is what you want to use. Use the running back so you can now create more opportunities for everybody else. It's only sensible to use a guy.
Well, I mean, he's just a complete back. I mean, every phase of the game right now, and he just keeps getting better week by week. And so that was the real breakout game, although he played well before. But obviously with, Najee going down, like he's going to have to, really probably increase his workload, and he was up to the task. But, man, to see in the open field, he is a hard guy to tackle.
He's huge, man.
So his balance, we saw the balance, at North Carolina. But that balance in the NFL is what you're looking for, that contact balance. And he was bouncing off a lot of defenders.
Yeah, we'll see if they can see how long Joe Alt's going to be out. First of all, that was a big injury. And Ladd McConkey had a couple uncharacteristic drops in this game, too. So I don't think they've got to get that cleaned up. All right, Rams, Indy. Baldy, you were there. What did you take away?
Puka's unreal. Like, we a couple weeks ago, we were talking about, Cincinnati and their receivers, and rightfully so. But Puka, third down, Stafford's looking for Puka. Like when they have what they have in Devontae and Puka right now, they got two guys that can win on any route against any coverage, whatever you want to do. But his hands are so fast. Like he caught a go route against Xavier Howard, and late hands. But I mean, like his hands are and eyes are so fast to the ball. And when his hands touch the ball, like he's not dropping it. It's not getting knocked out of his hands. They were all over him a couple of times. So that was that part. But, to see Stafford down 2013 in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, and they make the fourth down play, 4th and 2, and he goes to Puka to score, to tie it. And then, it was kind of funny. Last week, during the week, Tutu Atwell, they're asking him, like, how do you get him involved? And like Sean McVay's like, well, I got the number one receiver in the NFL, and I've got a Hall of Fame player over here. Like, I don't think we're too worried. But sure enough, there it is. 2 minutes to go in the game, and there's Tutu Atwell going 88 yards. One play won the game for him. So that was that. But Daniel Jones, I know he threw a couple interceptions, but he still was. And they shut down Jonathan Taylor, but they still are a feisty football team. And I talked to Lou Anarumo before the game, and he was like, we're just a work in progress, Baldy. We're not there. The guy that was here before had a different way of doing things, and guys were undisciplined. We're just trying to get our run fits, and we're trying to get things right. So I think they're going to get better. So But I thought Stafford and Puka, were the story in this game and how they just kept plays alive all game long.
Baldy, it's funny you talked about Lou Anarumo and the Colts. I'm probably even a bigger believer in the Colts after watching that game because they had their way. They look 3 quarters. They had the game on their terms. In the fourth quarter, they had it where they wanted it, and they weren't playing an A+ game. But it just shows you the depth of the talent. It also shows you how much they've improved with Daniel Jones at quarterback. His decision-making ability, his maturity, his confidence, all of that allows Shane Steichen to use other pages of the playbook that he couldn't use if he had Anthony Richardson there. And because of that, I have confidence that this team is going to continue to evolve over the course of the season. And as that race is still shaping up to be, because I think the Texans will get back in it. But the Jags, the Colts, and the Texans, it's going to come down to quarterback play. And right now, Daniel Jones is playing better than all of those other guys with the 2 interceptions. Well, that gives the Colts a chance.
They had the bonehead plays by A.D. Mitchell.
That was tough, man.
Like the Colts have complete control of the game. And A.D. Mitchell's walking into the end zone. And whether he was trying, I don't know what he was doing. If the celebration was beginning, it made no sense. And then they get the long touchdown run by Jonathan Taylor, and he was just a question of when it was going to happen because he'd gotten it in every game. And he breaks the long touchdown run, and it gets called back because of a dumb penalty outside. It had nothing to do with the play. And so he cost him 2 touchdowns. And you just go, okay, he wouldn't even be on the field if Pierce was playing. He gets his chance. And, it's just 2 boneheaded plays on his part. And nobody wants to say one player lost the game, because there's always other plays to be made. But I just thought, that was hard to overcome.
Yeah, I feel like every year. With the Deshaun Jackson play, we show it every year.
Again.
It happens every year. So I guess you just got to continually reinforce it with these guys, man. Just continue to show it and reinforce it. We do it with everything else. I know talking to coaches before this last game. Darn near every team had a panic meeting about block kicks because we've seen so many block kicks. Hey, we better emphasize this. This is an issue all around the league. But that's something that just continues to happen. On Puka, Baldy, 14 targets, 13 for $170 and a touchdown. One of the numbers that Gavin and Drew threw in the chat here is yards per reception run. He's number 1 in the NFL, 4.19. Right behind him is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Zay Flowers. So the efficiencies there. I went through and watched it all. And I was talking to Buck about it before we started. It's just those little 5-yard in cuts. We called them box routes where I was. I know people use different. It's like the smash route, smash concept. Right. Buck was going over it with me. But it's just kind of a big receiver route, and just kind of keeps guys on his back. They can't get around him. You can tell Puka's got a basketball feel and background. But when you're watching him, even watching him go vertical, I'm like, God, it doesn't look like he's running. There's not quick turnover with his feet. It's kind of a strong, powerful stride. And then he ends up kind of sneakily getting by people. I hate that sneaky speed stuff, but everything about him is kind of unique. I don't know who to compare him to, how he moves around.
I talked to him. I'm kind of walking the field before the game. I see him in the end zone. So I've never met him before, so I don't do a lot of Ram games. So I just, we start talking, and I'm like, okay, I just want to sort of introduce myself, whatever. But he's like, hey, Baldy, how do you decide, who you're going to break down? We watch all your, the guy he's got a smile on his face.
Yep.
He's the nicest guy in the world, but he's a devastating blocker. He's a stone-blooded killer, but he's the nicest. He's friendly, he's outgoing. You can't get the smile off his face. He's just having the best time out there right now. And so, but the efficiency, he's got 503 receiving yards in the month of September. Calvin Johnson's record might be, in danger right now, the way he's going.
Well, you can't dedicate coverage solely to him because you got to worry about the Hall of Famer on the other side of the field. So, it's a nice setup they have there, and a big win for the Rams in that one. Buck, your game, Jacksonville, San Francisco. You can start wherever you want. You want to start with the coaches fighting after the game? You want to start with what we saw in the game? Whatever you want.
Let's talk about this, because I feel like Robert Saleh broke a bit of a code when he aired out this stuff about the sign stealing. One, what he did is he used inflammatory language to talk about things that every coach does on a daily basis, a weekly basis when it comes to running an offense. Basically, he used sign stealing to discuss the advantages of shifts, motions, to uncover what the defense is doing. And because he made it like it was this intricate covert operation, it was intentional because it created a bit of a distraction for Jacksonville. But we're talking about things that we've been doing in football forever. Mm-hmm. Literally, I line up in one formation, I shift, I motion, I see the defensive reaction. I have two plays that I can call. After seeing the reaction, I make a kill call to get into an optimal call. Now, he layered the conversation because they talk about TV copy and some of the things that you can glean from watching TV, like some of the hand signals that you may use on defense to make sure you echo and confirm the call. But hey, man, that's stuff that's not really illegal, one, and it's not really anything that people can do because it can't happen in real time.
It's part of normal game planning, Bucky.
Yeah, and so it created this thing, not only for Liam, but it kind of is almost like Shanahan taking a shot at the McVay guys. And it's just a weird dynamic. But I will say it added a little spice to the game because I knew the post-game reaction, I knew that was going to happen in pregame. Mm-hmm. Because they'd already said, hey, man, if we win, there are going to be some words uttered. And I'll give Liam and those guys credit. As soon as the one was there, he went right over there and said some stuff. But it just takes away from what I think is one of the best jobs I've seen in terms of coaching. Liam Cohen's done a really good job of getting these guys to connect. It's funny, you were talking about the golfers and the European guys and riders. The biggest difference with the Jags has little to do with the X and O's and more about the high demands of accountability and the connectivity amongst the team, players and coaches. Mm-hmm. And that's really what makes good ball. The best teams are the most connected, and the Jags are winning because they're really connected.
Yeah, it's interesting, Buck. First of all, what a missed opportunity. If I was Liam Cohen, I would have tried to learn the sign language to keip my name out of your mouth, and I would have signed it to him after the game. That was a missed opportunity. Yeah, exactly. But Baldy, I'm gonna just get this to you quick because this is the point I was gonna make, and Buck already got me there. Etienne had a really good game, and there's a bunch of explosive runs. And when you go back through and watch those explosive runs, you know what you see. In one of them, you see Hunter blocking his butt off, Travis Hunter. On another one, you see BTJ blocking his butt off. Strange, the tight end, he had a great game blocking. He is a good player, man. He is physical. Yeah. He is tough. But when I watch teams with wide receivers and tight ends efforting in the run game like this, that tells me that you're starting to build a pretty good culture.
I agree. And I kind of felt it. I went to Jacksonville for OTAs this year and sat up there, with the GM and with Baselli, and we watched practice, and we went down and talked to Liam and Campanile and the staff after the practice. I kind of felt like that's what their major emphasis was this whole off season and training camp was we're building a team. And we're going to play as a team. We're going to compete as one. And this is what we need you to do. And the players, either they buy in or they kind of half listen to it, but they bought into it. And honestly, they should have beaten Cincinnati if they didn't drop so many passes in that game. And they could easily be undefeated right now. So, there's nothing like people say, well, everybody wants to get off to a fast start. And they do. But the fast start to a team that's turning things around with a new coach, a new GM, Gladstone, a new way of doing things, that early success is paramount to keep that going. And that's where the confidence comes from is, all right, this is what they're preaching. This is what we're doing. And now we're getting results early. Yeah. All right. We got to, not that it's just September, but we're going to get a very competitive AFC South this year.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's a big win for them. San Francisco, man, they've had a bunch of different injuries. McCaffrey played well. Did some nice things in that game. I know you got a quarterback who's just trying to play through it. Turf toe, right? Is what Purdy's
I would say. Yeah, I would say it's the worst performance I've seen from Purdy, and I know it's because he's not off. Because the things that he did in that game are not typical of him. Rush throws, errant passes, those things. He has always been terrific in throwing with touch timing and anticipation, and he was just a little off. And when you're playing a team that plays so much zone like the Jags, tips, overthrows, interceptions. And then the final part of the Niners are still a terrific team, and they still impose their will. They make you play to their level when it comes to bully ball. The one thing that I would say about them they could not run the football the way that they normally have been able to run it. Christian McCaffrey could not get loose. Some of that is the Jags, but some of that is also that offensive line being able to dominate at the point of attack. They're not the same version that we've seen in the past from the Niners.
Yeah, McCaffrey did his stuff in the pass game, huh, Buck? 6 for 92 and a touch. They can't run it. They couldn't run it as much. All right, let's get to this last game. We're going to have time to hit one more here with Baldy, and that was a game you mentioned at the top, Baldy, Minnesota and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, Pittsburgh hadn't been able to run the ball at all. Yeah, the first 3 weeks of the season, and they got a running game with Kenneth Gainwell yesterday. His first start, and I remember our buddy Andy Weidel when he signed him mostly because in the Super Bowl game, Gainwell had 2 special team tackles, and he thought special teams were going to be important. And he made the free agent signing almost based off that, but he also was always an excellent short yards and goal line back. Even in the Super Bowl that they lost to Kansas City, he was really effective that year. And that was one of the guys that Weidel drafted out of Memphis, and he always had a good role in Philadelphia. But yesterday, they went to Spencer Anderson, came in as a third tackle, and they used that formation a lot. So you got Spencer Anderson, you got Darnell Washington, and they just loaded it up with beef. And they fed Gainwell, and they got a running game yesterday for the first. I thought that was that. And then the defensive line showed up. It was Herbig, it was TJ, it was Hayward, it was Keanu Benton. Like, they really got after Carson Wentz and forced him into some mistakes. And I thought those 2 things were enough to win that game against the Minnesota team that's talented. But they forced the mistakes by Carson Wentz. One of them, obviously the interception by TJ, just obviously just in a spy technique right there, just coming into the middle of the field. That set up, the go-ahead touchdown.
Buck, what'd you see on that one? This is the one game of the ones we've talked about. I did not get a chance to go through the tape, so I saw a little bit on TV.
The big play by DK.
Yeah, I think that's
a simple slant. He ran right through the defense.
Yep.
I think that's the main thing. I think it is the explosiveness of DK Metcalf being able to hit him on the slant. And I will say this going back to watching Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf work prior to a preseason game down in Jacksonville. And I tell you, they worked on that route over and over and over again. And even though it's a day one install route to run a little slant, it is the timing and the execution. And the one thing about Aaron Rodgers, when protected, particularly in the short game, the ball comes out on time and on target. And he hit DK Metcalf. It was almost like a 4x1 relay baton exchange. He hit it, and you saw the speed and the explosiveness and those things. And it's the offense being one that is smash mouth with big play potential, and then the defense being a shut them down defense. And you're beginning to see this defense kind of work together to get to that point. It's not perfect, but the fact that they're 3-1 while they're figuring it out bodes well for them as they really start to try and play their best football down the stretch.
I went back through and pulled my Kenneth Gainwell notes while you guys were talking, because I was curious to go back to that draft. So he was 5'0", 201 pounds, ran 4.44. He was my 78th player in that draft. He opted out of 2020. They used him in the backfield and in the slot, so they kind of done that with a lot of those Memphis backs. Lateral quicks, he can run through contact. He'll spin. He's got real good balance. He's elusive. He had 51 catches. They use him on a ton of angle routes, got him out in the route, let him get out there and do that stuff. So he was somebody that had a pretty fun skill set coming back out of college, someone you could use as a route runner as well as somebody who could carry the ball. And sometimes with these guys, I mean, look, the guy he's backing up is the best running back in football. So he got a chance to get an opportunity. And Baldy, that's all these guys, man. You get an opportunity to be the lead dog. It's up to you to make the most of it. Sounds like he sure did.
Well, they came in. They came in with one rushing touchdown the first 3 weeks. He got 2 yesterday. Scored from the 1, scored from the 4. But he was always a good, even before the tush push really took over in Philly, like short yards and goal line. He was always good at just getting to the crack and just, and hitting. And he hit both those yesterday for touchdown runs. The other part here, DJ, is, they started the year and they got pushed all around by the Jets, and they ran the ball really good against them. And there was Loudermilk was out there, and Lowry was. Well, they're going to the rookies now.
Yeah.
So Harmon's out there, Y.A. Black's out there, Jack Sawyer. Like, they're playing the rookies right now, and they're on the field, and they're all making a variety of impacts. Now, Benton in his second year was really good yesterday. He'd had kind of a slow start, But you're seeing that rebuilt defensive line kind of rise up now. And we're going to see more, I think, from those players.
How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Aaron Rodgers, 3-1, first place right now in that division, with Baltimore at 1-3. So they've got some ground to make up here after a little tough start. Hey, Baldy, Mondays, always enjoy it, man. You are the best.
Thanks,
we will see it. We'll see you back here next week, brother.
Talk to you guys.
Oh, there he goes. Baldy is he is the best. It's always a treat to do these episodes with him on Mondays. Buck, you referenced it a little bit earlier. We were talking off the air about my Ryder Cup experience, getting a chance to go out there to Bethpage Black. I'd never been anything like that, so it was fun to go out there and check that out. And golf, individual sport, but obviously this is a team event. And in Europe, even though the U.S. team has more quote unquote talent or higher ranked players, a collection of higher ranked players, the team portion of the event, the first 2 days, Europe smashes America. So I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm kind of like putting my scouting hat on. I'm like, I don't know enough about golf to be able to tell who's, why this is happening. But it was interesting because I sent you a picture of like watching the Europeans go around the course. The two golfers competing for Europe in the doubles matches, in the pair matches, they're always walking together. They're talking together. There is a connectivity to them. Whereas the Americans, they're all with their individual caddies. They're two golfers with their own caddies, like individual corporations kind of, moving their way around the course. And I'm like, this is not about the ability level, the skill level. This is about connectivity. And that's something that in any team sport, man, you got to have it. And that was something that Europe definitely had in spades.
DJ, it's funny, right? So you hear team builders talk all the time. We're trying to build the best team, not collect talent. And we can never underestimate that part of it when it comes to team sports. It is not about having all the A-level players. It's about having people that complement one another, but more importantly, people that are connected. Can you build the chemistry within the group so they feel like they're playing for something beyond their own individual agendas? And looking at the Ryder Cup, because DJ, it was a blowout very, very early. And everyone was wondering like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So when you send that picture over and I look, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Like, I'm really connected to this person. Our buddy John Gordon has talked about the teams that give the most high fives and fist bumps or whatever. Like, they tend to win at a far superior rate than their counterparts, because you have to have, we're creatures. We have to have that human connection to be able to sacrifice for one another. Is one of those things, those X factors in team building that we don't talk about, but is one of the things that keeps those great teams together. It's the glue. It's the chemistry. It's the glue to everything.
Yeah, no question, man. We want to remind everybody we've got a new 40s and free agents that's going to post tomorrow. So Bucky and I will be back with Rhett on Wednesday. We'll have the rookie recap and the rookie draft on Wednesday's show. So we'll have plenty more coming your way this week. But excited to get make a little fun of Rosenthal. I'll be nice about it, but I'll make a little fun of him on 40s and free agents. So be on the lookout for that. Buck, always fun, man, and love these Mondays. I think we've really got onto something having Baldy on here, and it's always a fun chat, man.
No, it's always fun, DJ. The one thing I love about Baldy is when we're able to collectively have that tape watching experience and to be able to chat about it. It takes me all the way back to the scouting days when you used to sit in the room and not have those meetings, but it's when we're just casually looking at tape and going through things. That's what this Monday reminds me of. It reminds me of going back in the day.
Yeah, it is like getting in the Wayback Machine there. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We will see you tomorrow with a 40s and free agents episode, followed by a lot more Move the Six coming your way the rest of the week. Thanks.